And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the 4th day.
In verse 14, we need to pay close attention to what is being said. The first thing that Yah says is, "Let there be lights." Earlier, in verse 3, he made a similar statement, but in that case, light does not have an S at the end. It's also important to note that he uses the phrase, "let there be," rather than "let light be created." To illustrate this concept, let's consider the example of oxen. Sometimes oxen are paired together, with the stronger and larger one taking the lead while the weaker one follows. They are yoked together as a single unit. In verse 3, the sun, moon, and stars are described as one unit, but in verse 4, Yah separates them and places them in the firmament, assigning each one its respective role. Remember, don't just take my word for it. If you go outside, Yah's creation will confirm this as well. On the pagan date of March 30th this year, it was the month of Abib. Genesis 1 verse 1 says, "Let there be light," and you can see light coming to be. After he said, "Let there be light," light separated from darkness. By 10 in the morning, no darkness remains. Notice that the sun, the greater light, is leading the moon and the 7 stars. If you count 4 days later, which is April 2nd, the yoke is broken, and the sun, moon, and stars are fulfilling their appointed duties as designated by Yah. Here is more proof to support this observation.
The Hebrew word for create is H1254, bara. We must take note that this word is not in verse 14 or verse 16. The Hebrew language have verbs like the English language. In verse 16, the verb made is in its past tense form. The Hebrew language is fundamentally action-oriented, characterized by its abundance of verbs. When a Hebrew verb is conjugated within a sentence, it conveys essential information regarding person, number, gender, tense, mood, and voice. Understanding these various aspects is crucial for accurate interpretation. In Genesis 1:16, the word made is identified as a Hebrew verb in the qal form, specifically in the sequential imperfect, third-person masculine singular. A sequential imperfect verb typically functions similarly to a verb in the perfect conjugation. However, it also establishes a connection to a preceding verb, creating either a sequence of time or a sequence of thought. The perfect tense denotes a completed action and often parallels the English past tense, as exemplified by the phrase, "he cut." In Genesis 1 verse 16, the phrase "God made" reflects the past tense, indicating that God created the lights prior to the 4th day. The book of Job further corroborates this understanding.
Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy.
How can the stars be singing when the foundation of the earth was laid in Genesis 1 verse 1, if the stars had not been created till the 4th day?
On the 1st day, there was no reason to appoint and separate the lights, because there was no firmament, no birds, no seas, and no plant life. Yah operates in an orderly manner. The first task was to separate the light from the darkness and name them day and night. Once the tasks of days 2 and 3 were completed, he could then separate the lights from their yoke and assign their duties. Until next time, keep seeking Yah, and you will find him.
Iron sharpens